I just wanted to quickly go live with you today to change things up. I've not been live over on YouTube in a while. And today I'm going to give you the much needed tough love and tough advice. Because I find so many people on this planet who've got these big dreams, the big ambitions to make their biggest goals a reality. And yet, frankly, they never make it happen. And the reason why you've failed in accomplishing your goals in the past, and the reason why you may be struggling to get to that next level in your life, is all down to this one thing that I'm about to share with you today. And when I look at all of the successful people I've hung around with over the years, and when I look at what's really changed my life when I began my journey, it all comes down to this one thing over and over and over again. And I can assure you today that when you adopt this from the bottom of your heart and you really begin to play full out in your life, you'll begin to notice you finally make your biggest dreams a reality. So let me ask you, how many of you are ready for this, by the way? If you're tuning in live, be sure to comment yes. I know this was like a random scheduled live stream, by the way, so I understand if right now this is in crazy time zone for you guys, but appreciate you being here. I just want you to, most importantly, just not listen to me today, but actually act on it. So if you promise, be sure to comment promise in the chat box below. So what's the one thing only the 1% do? Well, it comes down to this. First, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever failed in accomplishing your goals before? Have you ever told yourself you're going to make something a reality and yet you fell off the wagon? Have you ever set a goal or dream and it became so hard that you told yourself, maybe I'm going to change the dream. Maybe I'm going to change the goal. Maybe I'm going to change whatever it is. And you told yourself before long, maybe it's not possible. And you're down on your luck and you begin to quit. Because I'll tell you, the biggest mistake that people make on this planet today is this very thing. The one thing that 1% do is that they enter into what's called a covenant with themselves. What does that really mean? Well, before I explain what that really means inside it, I want you to understand, if you look at what successful people do, and they have it as a trait, all in common, is that they've got confidence. You need confidence to reach these big dreams. You got to have confidence in order for you to keep on persevering when you're running out of luck. And if you look at the Latin root word, confidence, what that really means is to confide. And what confide means is to trust. To trust in your abilities, to trust in the fact that you will make it happen. And in the scriptures, there is a thing that's called a covenant. And when you really understand what this truly means, you'll really begin to realize why you failed so many times in your life before. You see, in the scriptures, what the covenant means is essentially they would grab a big machete, a knife, slice their hands open, and they'll walk up to another fellow brother and shake hands over a dead animal carcass. And once they shake hands, they enter into what's called a covenant. And they will give their life, they'll give everything to that fellow brother that they've just committed to. And what they're essentially saying is, I will give you everything I've said that I will do. I promise I will make it happen. This is a commitment. And if you break this promise, the same thing will happen to you. And they point down at the animal carcass. The biggest reason in regards to why you struggle in making your biggest dreams a reality right now is because you haven't properly decided. Deciding means to cut. It means to cut other possibilities away from you. That way you have to make your dreams and goals a reality. The problem is you don't believe in the word you say because you've lied and scammed yourself so many times in your life. You don't believe a word you say because you lied to yourself in the past. You don't believe a word that's coming out of your freaking head because you haven't committed. When your life changes is the moment, the day you decide that this is a commitment. I'm entering into covenant with myself. And the reason why you're struggling to make your biggest dreams a reality is because you haven't committed. You tell yourself you're going to do it, but problem is the moment things get hard, what happens is you end up beginning to lay off. Isn't that true? So the moment you'll begin to notice that your life begins to excel is the moment you tell yourself, you know what? There's no going back now. And that's what I did. People often ask me, Tim, when I speak on stages nowadays, people are quick to judge. They assume that I've always had this mental discipline, this consistency. But if you know my story, which I've revealed in my book, Follow Your Heart and Take Action, I talked about how it was only 11 years ago when I was just at the total brink bottom. I was working as a toilet cleaner when I began. I never believed I was worth it because I was bullied pretty much every single day when I was growing up. And I was experiencing all of this pain in my life, wondering, why can I not get results? And I realized it's because all of these dreams were pipe dreams. All of these goals I told myself in terms of quitting my job and starting a business wasn't a covenant. I hadn't committed. So one thing I wish upon you, for those of you tuning in, some of you I maybe have never met in person before, but I urge you to stay true to your promise. The reason why we're living in such a crazy generation today where people promise a lot, but they fulfill nothing is because people are literally never, ever committing. If you are somebody who's committed, that means to cut yourself away from any other possibilities, any other bridges. That way you are 100% all in. And if you are willing to do that in your life inside it, I can urge you, I can assure you, that's when everything begins to change. So if you're somebody who's listening to this and you want to enter into a covenant, you want to be committed towards the dreams that you want to make, be sure to comment committed in the chat box below right now. Let's see who is committed in here. And I'll be sure to definitely reply back to you because I really, really appreciate those who are not liars. You see, successful people, they don't become the scam artists of their own life. If you've ever broken any of your promises, you are the biggest fraudster and you deserve to be locked up. And I say that with the best intent at heart. Stop lying to yourself. You deserve the absolute very best, and you know that deep inside. But remind yourself every time you tell yourself you're even going to wake up at 5 a.m. and you don't, you are conning your own life. You are the biggest fraudster that's ever lived. How much longer can you keep on going? And when you really begin to come to terms with that, you realize, shit, I need to change. Enter into a commitment. A commitment means to promise. I was literally with a guy yesterday I was learning to speak with, in terms of public speaking training with, about 3 years ago. I was just catching up with him. And me and him, I was just talking about how we're living the crazy, because he's in the property business. And he talked about how some of the contractors he's hired promises so much, but they delivered absolutely nothing. And he said, nothing upsets me more than somebody who breaks their promise. And I turned to him and said, "Is absolutely 100%, you're bang on. There's nothing worse than somebody who can't follow upon their commitments." And so if you are committed, you have to burn the bridge. What does that mean? What is it, back of your mind, you always know it's a safety route, the safety net that you can fall back to? Whatever that is, burn it. When you burn the bridge, that's a commitment. There's no going back now. What can you do inside it for you to commit, to enter into that covenant? So, for example, last year you may have seen over on YouTube when I was focusing a lot of my efforts on this platform. This year's been a bit different here at Success Insider. We've been more focusing on different platforms. But last year I told myself, how can I go into a covenant of uploading daily videos? Last year I was absolutely manic in terms of my time. I was traveling, I was speaking everywhere. So I said to myself, how can I enter a covenant? So if you remember last year, what did I do? Is I decided to give away $30,000 worth of prizes to you guys. And I said, I'm going to be uploading a video every single day and you can earn points for how many videos you watched every single day that I'll be uploading. And I knew that would be the covenant. Why? Because you will be able to see if I fall off track. I knew immediately that will ruin my brand reputation I spent years building up. There was so much pain attached. The bridge has been burnt that I actually ended up finishing the 100-day challenge. And we end up giving away the $30,000 worth prizes to celebrate. Some of you, you've lied to yourself so much in the past, you're scared of committing. And I urge you to make this big difference today. When I interview any success insiders you've ever heard of, like you probably follow online, for example, when I speak with Grant Cardone, when I speak with Tom Bilyeu, Patrick Bet-David, Evan Carmichael, they've all entered into a covenant. No matter how bad their life gets, they're committed towards this. So if you are somebody who's committed to it, let me know in the comments box below, and let's just see who's tuning in right now as well. I can see, comment committed, by the way, if you are fully committed to this. And I really appreciate you, every single one of you. So I can see Kadra, got Lance, we've got Colin here, we've got Lolo, we got Isan. Wow, where are you guys tuning in from? Sounds very foreign in terms of names. Awesome stuff. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up here, Insider. Just want to say thanks so much for tuning in. Thought I should basically change it up today in terms of doing this random live stream. But promise me one thing: whatever you promise yourself today, stop scamming yourself. Commit. Enter into a covenant with yourself. You've got it. From the bottom of my heart, as always, follow your heart, my friend, and take action and go live the life you're truly born to live. Commit 100%. Stop lying.